I love Superman the movie. It was my introduction to the Man of Steel when I was a kid, and it remains the gold standard of classic superhero films. And so, in the tradition of overcritical nitpickery, I want to take a few minutes to talk about one of the most irritating scenes in all of the Superman films. And no, it's not the scene where he reverses time by flying around the Earth. That's been covered. Or the entirety of Superman 4. Or that shit. No, I'm talking about the scene where Lex Luthor conjures Kryptonite into existence by sheer force of his evil will. The scene goes like this. Superman's been doing the hero thing all over Metropolis and getting lots of attention. Lex and his lackeys, Miss Teschmacher and Otis, are reading Lois's historic interview with Superman in the paper. Lex, being our designated evildoer for this story, is already plotting a way to take down the Man of Steel somehow. Not because he's mad at him or anything, just because, he's evil. Lex figures that even Superman must have a weakness of some kind, so he thinks on it. He even orders his rock-stupid minions to think with him, just to draw out the scene. And lo, without any research or experiments or physical evidence whatsoever, he deduces the following. Number 1. Meteorite fragments from the explosion of Krypton travel gajillions of miles and made their way to Earth. 2. These meteorites emit a high level of specific radiation that is harmless to humans but lethal to Kryptonians like Superman. 3. A random meteorite found in Addis Ababa is one such fragment. And 4. Lead, which the article helpfully notes that Superman cannot X-ray, will mask the radiation without fail. Oh yeah, and he names it Kryptonite right there on the spot. Just pulls it out of his ass. Now, I never really cared for this depiction of Lex in general, but that's beside the point. Even as a little kid, I always knew there was something fishy about this scene. First off, out of the hundreds of meteor impacts every year, how does Lex know that this is the rock that he's looking for? Is it because it's green? How does he know Kryptonite is green? He might as well have just picked his favorite color. Second, it makes sense that fragments of a planet that exploded would be radioactive, sure, and it's fair to assume that the radiation doesn't do much to humans because something that dangerous would attract more attention. But if it has no effect on us weaker, squishier humans, how can Lex reasonably assume that it will do anything to the guy that can stroll through bullets, volcanoes, and outer space without breaking a sweat? Now maybe Kryptonite will make him weaker, but for all Lex knows it might make Superman even stronger, or turn him into an unhinged murderous psychopath, or maybe it will just negate his powers without killing him, or maybe it'll do absolutely nothing at all. Seriously, how does Lex know that Kryptonite will have any effect on anything? Now, maybe Lex figured out all this stuff the day before and is just bringing it up now, so his minions can stand in awe of his evil genius mind. But that still doesn't change the fact that he worked it all out with no concrete research or evidence. Lex figures out exactly how Kryptonite works only because the script needs him to. He doesn't discover it, rather he imagines that such a thing exists and that it works exactly the way he wants, and lo and behold it does. Something similar happens in Superman 2. Lex sneaks into the Fortress of Solitude and learns about General Zod. Then goes on about how cool it would be if that guy showed up, and within 24 hours, without any intervention by Lex, Zod and company have broken free to wreak havoc on the Earth. Things just tend to go Lex's way in these movies. Anyway, I get it. We have a movie to get to and all, plus we're probably over budget already. It's not like they have months and months of comic books to build this shit up. The movie has to use its time efficiently, right? Well, apparently not. For the next 5 minutes, Lex and company engage in wacky hijinks in order to stop the military convoy and reprogram those 2 missiles they need for the climax. 5 minutes may not seem like a lot, but when the scene goes on extra long because Otis screws up the launch codes and they have to go and do the same shit again, you will feel that valuable time crawl by. Did all of that need to be in the movie? Couldn't they have used some of that time to give Kryptonite a proper setup? I'm starting to wonder if we even needed the scene at all. I mean, would it have made any less sense if Superman had shown up at Lex's headquarters later in the movie, and Lex just has the Kryptonite on hand already, with no setup whatsoever? The only conclusion we could draw is that Lex is just that good. We still have a lot of the same questions, but we could just use our imaginations instead of being subjected to this bathroom break of a scene. Why must they go to such great lengths to introduce Kryptonite if the explanation is going to be this ham-fisted? I mean, the movie didn't bother explaining Superman's costume. Anyway, great movie.